Okay, so first we're going to start with like foam rolling our quad. Okay, you can start with 2 legs. That'll kind of share the load. Little slower, little slower. Try to relax your muscles and breathe. And if you're not feeling it with 2 legs, then I like to always just get off to the side and just do 1 leg at a time. Now, typically the belly of the muscle is where we're going to have the knot. So usually right in the middle of the muscle. Y'all find that? And you may need to roll out to the side. You kind of find it. Everybody find it? Okay. Now, a couple things we can do. You can contract your muscle. So flex your quad. Try to straighten your knee. Hold for 5 seconds. And then relax. Do that about 2-3 times. And then relax. The other thing you can do, you can kind of just cross friction, rub it side to side. It's a little different than rolling, which we can do too. What I really like to do is combine those. I call it the smear. So when you smear, you traction to pull up that tissue, and then you roll. And you traction and you roll. It's almost like making a figure 8. I like to think of it like I'm smearing peanut butter on my piece of bread. And what we say is you usually spend about 1 to 2 minutes on each knot, okay? And what I typically tell people to do is find the biggest knot you can find and work that one out. If you work that one out, the other ones, the smaller ones and the rest of the muscle tend to relax and release. And one other kind of mobilization technique you can do is staying right here, just bend your knee. Okay, now let's work on the groin muscles. So from here, put the roller alongside your body. So this is going to be really important to get in your squat, right? We want to have those groins opened up so we can get in there deep. So we call this the hot dog in the bun. So getting your knee as high as you can, back leg off the ground. Put as much pressure as you can on that foam roller. And your reference point is your pelvis. You want your pelvis pointed at the ground. Try not to let it turn. And then try to get down on your elbows if you can. A little easier. Try to get your knee a little higher. Try to get it, yeah. There you go. Okay, so same thing. Cross friction. This is going to be more up and down. It's a little harder to do the figure 8 on this one, but you can. But the best one I like is tack and floss, bend and straighten your knee. So now we'll do the IT bands. So this one's going to be strictly tacking and flossing. So you will lay down on that roller. Start in the middle. Don't start at your hip. And we're going to slowly go up and down. Now, I like to kind of lean back and get the posterior fibers of the IT band right up into that hip bone. And then what you can do is tack and floss, so bend and straighten that knee. Now, don't let your hip move. Make sure your knee stays right in place, okay? It's going to want to start bending up as you bend your knee. If you need to, put some weight on that front foot and take some pressure off. Again, we want to be able to breathe and relax, so slow, deep breaths. Now you can kind of rotate towards the front a little bit and get that outside quad and the front part of the IT band. Same thing, bend and straighten that knee. Ooh. Again, if you're up to it, you can do that smearing. All right, now we're going to do the glute muscles, okay? So you're going to sit on top of that. So let's lean to our right side. So get your right butt on there and put your right ankle on your left knee. There we go. Roll forward, lean back. Yeah, this is really going to open up those glutes for your squat. Get on that outside capsule and the outside portion of that hip. That's where we get a lot of glute tendonitis. You can roll in more towards the sacrum in the middle of the butt. Make sure you lean back and get high in the glute. If you really want to loosen up the hamstrings, you get your lacrosse ball and you're going to sit on a box where your leg can hang. So you want something tall so your leg's dangling in the air. I'm going to start out, again, remember the biggest knot's usually right in the belly of the muscle. So I'm going to start right in the middle of my hamstring. I'm going to do that little smearing, figure 8. All right. And then I want you to sit nice and tall. If you can, put a little weight on there, and then straighten your knee. Don't lean back. Don't take your tension off. Stay nice and tall. Make sure that ball stays in there and your leg doesn't lift off. This is like paper clipping. So a paper clip you can't break in one try. You do it like 20, 30 times, it just breaks free. That's what you're doing. Hamstring's a big, thick muscle. You're going to break up all those adhesions, and eventually it just swings. Yeah. And then if you're an office worker and you're sitting and your knees are bent all day long, usually the stiffest area is going to be right behind the knee. So move that lacrosse ball down right to you, or right above your knee there. And then press down and straighten again. Yeah, see, that locks me up. I can't go very far at all right there. And so for people who have high hamstring pulls, the hamstring crosses 2 joints, just like the quad. So the quad's a hip flexor and a knee extender. The hamstring does the opposite. It's a hip extender and a knee flexor. So this is almost overstretched all day long. This is understretched and it gets tight. So when you have a high hamstring pull, it's usually because this is so tight, this is where it tears. So really focus on this bottom section. There you go, start and break free. Good, see, now it opened up. And then we have an inside and an outside hamstring, so you can kind of shift a little bit to focus maybe more on the inside or more on the outside. After you've done all your foam rolling, use this band, one of these jump bands, to really help open up your hips. So you're going to put this high in your groin. You're going to take a big running lunge out, okay? So get that foot in front of the knee. And then you're going to try to drop your elbow inside the arch of your foot. I got my back knee off the ground. I'm squeezing my left glute, and I'm trying to drop in there. And I'm not stopping. I'm going to pulse around. I'm going to find those sticky spots, keeping my foot down the whole time. All right. And then you can try to open up, keeping your foot down on the ground, and then go the other way. To the ground, and then sit back. I'm going to get my body up. I'm going to get my pelvis neutral to the ground, and then I'm going to sit back, almost bringing this knee to the opposite shoulder to stretch that glute out. Make sure that thing is up there high in the groin. And now you're going to do a little adduction, stretching that posterior capsule out of the hip. Pretend like you're trying to pop your hip out of the socket. And then work your way up and sit yourself back. Get those different aspects of that hip capsule. Since that knee's already down, I want you to keep that knee down, but rotate towards the rig so you're facing it, and put your opposite leg up. Now make sure that band is right at your glute crease. Now tuck your pelvis, squeeze your glute, your right glute right now, and then get your hip in front of your knee. Keep squeezing that right glute, don't let it go. And again, pulse around a little bit, kind of move in, rotate. Maybe put your arms above your head, see what that does. But keep that core engaged and keep that glute firing. Try to side bend, maybe rotate away. Again, always moving. Always. Okay, so for shoulders, everything in your shoulder attaches to your thoracic spine. Okay, so if you have a hunched over spine, that's all the shoulder flexion you're going to get. If we try to mobilize your shoulders past this, we're going to jack your shoulders up. So we need to be able to extend through our upper back. Okay, so you're going to pop your hips up in the air. Give yourself a bear hug. and roll up and down. Now your feet are not glued to the ground, so especially as you get in the low back, I want you to crunch and curl up, but keep your feet near your butt. Then you're going to walk yourself back without rolling up your shirt. And now as I get in the upper back, I'm going to go up higher. Okay, don't be surprised if you feel a couple pops in there. That's kind of a good thing. We're getting those joints moving again. If your neck gets tired, you can support it with your hands. Again, try to cross friction or do that little smearing thing on those tender spots. Usually right below the shoulder blades. That's our peak of our curve. So after you've done that a couple times, right below your shoulder blades, right at the peak of your curve, I want you to put the foam roller right there. You're going to use it as a fulcrum. Okay, and I want you to extend over the foam roller, but only at the foam roller. Do not let your low back arch. So I'm going to turn my core on by breathing out, feeling my ribs down, and I'm just going to lean back. But I'm keeping my abs engaged so I don't arch like that. If I do that, I'm just mobilizing my low back. I want to do the upper back. Breathe out as you lean back. Take a breath in while you're there. Let it fill up the front of your chest. And then come back up. Do that 3 or 4 times, and then move up an inch, and then do it again. As you breathe out, you're letting your rib cage compress, and it's going to give you a little more room. And then as you breathe in, it's going to fill up the front of your chest. So now we're going to roll out our latissimus muscle. And the biggest knot is going to be right under the shoulder blade here. So we can do our cross friction. Do our little smearing. Now we're going to do some self-mobilization. So pin that knot down and reach up over your head. Now I'm going to put my elbow down and we're going to rotate in and out. The lat is an internal rotator, so we're going to help mobilize that internal and external rotation. Now we're going to move up and get more on the side on the shoulder blade. Let's do our smear again. I'm actually going to pull my elbow up a little bit using my other hand to help get a little more traction out of there. And try to get your arm up as far above your head to get as much tension as you can. Now I'm rolling up right underneath my armpit. Doing my smear again, get that tissue pull, and then roll back and forth. You can lean back. Now I'm hitting some of my rotator cuff muscles. Since the rotator cuffs, we're going to rotate our shoulder in and out. And then we can even roll through that armpit, hitting that subscapularis and the under lat muscle, and even getting into that inside pec. So now that we've worked out all the knots in our muscles, we're going to use the jump bands to help get some extra length in our tissue. So put the jump band way up high on the rig and thread your hand underneath and spread out your hand. You don't want to have to grab onto the band to hold it there because that'll just tense up all the muscles in your shoulder. So you want to keep it nice and loose. Now step back with the same leg that the arm is in the band and drop your body through your shoulder. Get some deep breaths. You can retract and relax, contract and relax. Now you can bring that leg across your body to really open up that whole line. All these muscles are connected together. So you can stretch out the hip and the lat all at the same time. Take some deep breaths. Really open up that entire right side of your body here.
So now we'll stretch out our pecs, but don't let your shoulder internally rotate. Don't let it roll forward. So keep it rolled back, take a big step, keep your sternum down, and rotate your body away. But now we'll stretch the posterior capsule of the shoulder. So you're gonna let the arm come across your body, and you're gonna keep that shoulder pinned towards your body. Now you don't want to let your shoulder kind of pop out of the socket here, so keep it in that closed, packed position to really stretch that posterior capsule. All right, now we'll do the front rack position. So put your elbow inside the band, wrap your hand from the outside to the inside, get your core active and tilt your sternum down and step away and get a good stretch through those lats and that posterior shoulder. You can turn into it a little bit and then turn away. See how those tissue changes feel. Just like before, you can do a contract and relax, where you pull down, hold for a couple seconds and relax and let it take you deeper into the stretch.